Please like the video and share it so that it reaches many more people and you get sawaba, or rewards from Allah. This could be a sawabe jariyah or continuous reward for you long after you are gone.
Volume 6, Book 60, number 414. Narrated by Urwa. Aisha, the wife of the Prophet, said, Allah's apostle used to examine the believing women who migrated to him in accordance with this verse. O Prophet, when believing women come to you to take the oath of allegiance to you, verily, Allah is oft forgiving, most merciful. 60.12. Aisha said, and if any of the believing women accepted the condition assigned in the above-mentioned verse, Allah's apostle would say to her, I have accepted your pledge of allegiance. He would only say that, for, by Allah, his hand never touched any lady during that pledge of allegiance. He did not receive their pledge except by saying, I have accepted your pledge of allegiance for that. Volume 6, Book 60, number 415. Narrated by Atiyah. We took the oath of allegiance to Allah's apostle and he recited to us, they will not associate anything in worship with Allah, and forbade us to bewail the dead. Thereupon a lady withdrew her hand, refrained from taking the oath of allegiance, and said, but such and such lady lamented over one of my relatives, so I must do the same over the dead relatives of hers. The Prophet did not object to that, so she went there, and returned to the Prophet, so he accepted her pledge of allegiance. Volume 6, Book 60, number 416. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. Regarding the saying of Allah, and they will not disobey you in any just matter. 60.12. That was one of the conditions which Allah imposed on the believing women who came to take the oath of allegiance to the Prophet. Volume 6, Book 60, number 417. Narrated by Ubadah bin as-Samit. While we were with the Prophet, he said, will you swear to me the pledge of allegiance that you will not worship anything besides Allah, will not commit illegal sexual intercourse, and will not steal? Then he recited the verse concerning the women. Sufyan, the sub-narrator, often said that the Prophet added, whoever among you fulfills his pledge, will receive his reward from Allah. And whoever commits any of those sins and receives the legal punishment in this life, his punishment will be an expiation for that sin. And whoever commits any of those sins and Allah screens him, then it is up to Allah to punish or forgive them. Volume 6, Book 60, number 418. Narrated by Ibn Abbas. I witnessed the Eid al-Fitr prayer with Allah's apostle, Abu Bakr, Umar and Uthman, and all of them offered it before delivering the sermon, and then delivered the sermon. Once the Prophet, after completing the prayer and the sermon, came down, as if I am now looking at him waving at the men with his hand to sit down, and walked through them till he, along with Bilal, reached the rows of the women. Then he recited, O Prophet, when believing women come to you to take the oath of allegiance that they will not worship anything other than Allah, will not steal, will not commit illegal sexual intercourse, will not kill their children, and will not utter slander, intentionally forging falsehood, by making illegal children belonging to their husbands. 60.12. Having finished, he said, do you agree to that? One lady, other than whom none replied, the Prophet said, yes, O Allah's apostle. The sub-narrator, Al-Hassan, did not know who the lady was. Then the Prophet said to them, will you give alms? Thereupon Bilal spread out his garment and the women started throwing big rings and small rings into Bilal's garment. See Hadith number 95, Volume 2. Volume 6, Book 60, number 419. Narrated by Jubair bin Mutim. I heard Allah's apostle saying, I have several names. I am Muhammad and I am Ahmad, and I am Al-Mahi with whom Allah obliterates Kufa, disbelief, and I am Al-Hashir, gatherer, at whose feet, i.e. behind whom, the people will be gathered, on the day of resurrection, and I am Al-Aqib, i.e. who succeeds the other prophets in bringing about good. Volume 6, Book 60, number 420. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. While we were sitting with the Prophet, Surah Al-Jumu'ah was revealed to him, and when the verse, "And he, Allah, has sent him, Muhammad, also to other Muslims," 62.3, was recited by the Prophet. I said, "Who are they, O Allah's Apostle?" The Prophet did not reply till I repeated my question thrice. At that time, Salman al-Farisi was with us. So Allah's Apostle put his hand on Salman, saying, "If faith were at the place of At-Thariya, Pleiades, the highest star, even then, some men or man from these people, i.e. Salman's folk, would attain it." Volume 6, Book 60, number 421. Narrated by Abu Hurairah. The Prophet said, "Then some men from these people would attain it." Volume 6, Book 60, number 422. Narrated by Jabir bin Abdullah. A caravan of merchandise arrived at Medina on a Friday. While we were with the Prophet, all the people left the Prophet and headed for the caravan, except 12 persons. Then Allah revealed, "But when they see some bargain or some amusement, they disperse headlong to it." 62.11. Volume 6, Book 60, number 423. Narrated by Zayd bin Arqam. While I was taking part in a ghazwa, I heard Abdullah bin Ubay bin Abi Salul saying, "Don't spend on those who are with Allah's Apostle, that they may disperse and go away from him. If we return to Medina, surely the more honorable will expel the meaner amongst them." I reported that, saying, to my uncle or to Umar, who, in his turn, informed the Prophet of it. The Prophet called me and I narrated to him the whole story. Then Allah's Apostle sent for Abdullah bin Ubay and his companions, and they took an oath that they did not say that. So Allah's Apostle disbelieved my saying and believed his. I was distressed as I never was before. I stayed at home and my uncle said to me, "You just wanted Allah's Apostle to disbelieve your statement and hate you." So Allah revealed the surah beginning with, "When the hypocrites come to you," 63.1. The Prophet then sent for me and recited it and said, "O Zayd, Allah confirmed your statement." Volume 6, Book 60, number 424. Narrated by Zayd bin Arqam. I was with my uncle and I heard Abdullah bin Ubay bin Salul saying, "Don't spend on those who are with Allah's Apostle, that they may disperse and go away from him." He also said, "If we return to Medina, surely the more honorable will expel the meaner." So I informed my uncle of that, and then my uncle informed Allah's Apostle thereof. Allah's Apostle sent for Abdullah bin Ubay and his companions. They swore that they did not say anything of that sort. Allah's Apostle deemed their statement true and rejected mine. Thereof I became as distressed as I have never been before, and stayed at home. Then Allah revealed Surah Al-Munafiqun, "When the hypocrites come to you." 63.1. They are the ones who say, "Spend nothing on those who are with Allah's Apostle." 63.7. Verily the more honorable will expel therefrom the meaner. 63.78. Allah's Apostle sent for me and recited that surah for me and said, "Allah has confirmed your statement." That is because they believed, then disbelieved, so a seal was set on their hearts, therefore they understand not. 63.3.